Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. That can be part of the supercut now. We're still working on King Lear, and today we get to hear from Goneril in Act 1, Scene 4, but that means we have to fill you in on what happened in Act 1, Scene 3, and a little bit of a recap because now we're back to the primary storyline. Primary storyline being King Lear wants to retire with his 100 knights, and he wanted to give his kingdom equally to his 3 daughters, but the youngest one, Cordelia, didn't play the game right, so she got nothing. She was sent off to France, and the kingdom was split in two between the eldest daughter, Goneril, and her husband, and the middle daughter, Regan, and her husband. So Lear has gone to live with Goneril for the first month, and then he and his 100 knights are going to go to Regan's for a month, and that's how he's going to spend his retirement with his 100 knights, is bouncing back and forth between his 2 daughters' places. So Act 1, Scene 3 is a little tiny scene that Goneril has with her servant, who in some versions is named Oswald, but in the folio I believe is just called servant or serving man, wherein she's like, "What, did he hit one of my people?" And Oswald's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "I can't stand this. He's out of control. He's gone crazy. We can't keep him in line. He's really loud. He's ruckus. All of his men in the court are just making a mess of things. So here's what we're going to do. The next time he steps out of line, I'm going to tell him that he has to go stay with my sister, Regan, who I know is of the same mind of me, so we can like gang up against Dad and try to, make him behave properly the way that he should now that he's retired and given everything away, but he still wants to be in control of all of it." So that's Act 1, Scene 3. Act 1, Scene 4 starts out, we see Kent, who was banished in Act 1, Scene 1 because he stood up for Cordelia. But Kent is one of Lear's dearest friends and advisors and doesn't want to leave the king because he doesn't think that he's well in the head. So he puts on a disguise and an accent and goes back to try to get in Lear's circle. So then we see Lear with his train of knights, all these people, and he's at Goneril's, and they are being kind of loud and ruckus, and he's like, "Bring me my dinner, and where's my dinner, and bring this person here, and why won't my daughter come talk to me?" And they're like, "Well, your daughter says that she's sick." And he's like, "I don't buy that. Go get my daughter. Go get my fool. Go get my dinner." All sorts of stuff. And then the fool comes in, the fool being an interesting character because the fool speaks the truth to King Lear, but does so with tricks of words and with songs and all that sort of stuff, so that it's not, well, usually not outwardly offensive to him. But when the fool comes in, he gets to make fun of King Lear for giving away all of his stuff and being really stupid about it. And he basically calls him dumb in about 6 different ways through all of his jokes and all of these sorts of things. So that happens for a little while, and as the fool is getting very, very real in the whole, like, you were stupid to give your whole kingdom away, and you should have kept a better eye on your daughters and all that sort of thing, Goneril comes in, and King Lear's like, "Hey, how you doing? You've been looking really sad recently, and that's not quite right." And the fool jumps in and is like, "Haha, look at you being all silly and dumb, and your crazy daughter that does all these things and wants to take all the stuff from your dad." And Goneril says, "Not only, sir, this, your all-licensed fool, but other of your insolent retinue do hourly carp and his quarrel, breaking forth in rank and not to be endured riots, sir. I had thought, by making this well known unto you, to have found a safe redress, but now grow fearful by what yourself too late have spoken and done, that you protect this course, and put it on by your allowance, which, if you should, the fault would not scape censure, nor the redress sleep, which in the tender of a wholesome weal might in their working do you that offense, which else were shame, that then necessity will call discreet proceeding." So she's giving her dad a dressing down, like a talking down. She's like, "Okay, so first of all, your fool right here is being rude to me, but also take a look around the room. Every single other man in here is rude, disrespectful, and trashing my house, and that's not okay. And I thought by saying something to you, you would have done something about it, but I find that you are the one that's encouraging this and pushing it forward." So Lear responds the way that a sane, wonderful, retired father would by saying, like, wait a second, who are you and what did you do with my daughter? I'm not like this, and this isn't me, and what are you talking about? And how dare you be so disrespectful? And Goneril's not quite done yelling at him yet, so we get to hear a little bit more from her tomorrow as she tries to put her retired former king father in his place, in what she thinks is his place, even though he disagrees with what his current place should be. Anyway, families, haha, super fun. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow for more Shakesyear. Mwah.